Hello and welcome to the channel. We're here gonna run a play test of the game here, show off how to play it by yourself and also how to play it if there was multiple people. I'll show a couple different ways, although I'm going to be doing it by myself either way. So the box itself is good. I don't have a whole lot of space on within my camera range, but it's alright. I do have the older version of the game, but I will be playing it based on the new rules. We have our items. I've already divided them up to have the heroes items, starting items assigned to their character. So we have our dagger and our leather armor for our thief, Sirik. We have our sword, shield, and steel armor for the knight, Reginald. We have the short bow, leather armor for the archer, Larissa. And we have our staff, our robe for the mage, Selena. Now, single player, you'd pick one hero and work with that. If you're simulating multiple players, you'd want to take multiple characters. So let's put that over there. Dividing room. We have our monsters and our terrain. The monsters get divided by tier, which are all color coded. Tier 3s have the green border. Tier 2s have the yellow border, and then Tier 1 has the blue border. We start off with Tier 1 monsters. I'll put these up that way. We'll want to shuffle those pretty good. And we want to shuffle our terrain really good. Dust. For single player and 2-player, you'd want to start with a 3x3 grid, 9 cards. You shuffle them out like so. Make sure I got room. Let's pull that down a little bit. And I have not actually decided. We'll play with Reginald here. Let's set these up like this so we can see them. And we'll get our health dial out for easier tracking. And our dice. I am using my mouse pad over here that I created. I do the version that's available now. The words have been moved down closer so they're not on the edge of the mat. This was the test one. It's a very nice mouse pad. But back to the game. That's available on my Etsy. Anyway, back to the game. We will start by entering into this terrain. That's the basics. We turn that over. We have castle ruins. It's a crumbling remnant of a once great fortress. Roll the die. If it's odd, you draw a monster card, and if it's even, you draw an item card. So we have an odd. Gives us a monster. And that is our zombie. Now, for Reginald, he's using a sword, which is a slashing weapon with plus 3 damage. And the zombie is weak towards slashing damage, so his defense against slashing is 0. So whatever the die roll is going plus 3 will be our total damage, nothing reduced. If I was using a different weapon, we would go off of the 2. So let's do that. We'll roll both the die at the same time. The blue die is the hero's attack, and the red die is the monster's attack. It's just easier to roll them both at the same time. The hero's damage will be applied to the monster first, so if that kills the monster, then the monster's damage doesn't count. So we have a 3, and 3 with no defense, and that's 6 health. The zombie is a relentless shambler, so I didn't even have to roll that the first round. I need to read my cards. It is important to read the cards. They only attack on turns 2, 4, and 5 and beyond, because they're slowly getting up there. So first round of combat, he's walking towards you, but he doesn't get to attack. So his damage doesn't count, and we finished him off anyway. Next, after deciding that he's dead, obviously, you roll the die again to find out if he has any items on him. And on a zombie, most of the tier 1 monsters, a 1, 2, or 3 means that he's got an item. And we got a 5, so there's no item. Next, we're going to decide which direction we're going to go. We would want, there's no diagonals, we go straight ahead or off to one side. We're going to do counterclockwise mode though, and turn this guy over. Entering into the haunted forest. It's a dark woods filled with spirits and ghosts. The hero loses 1 die or 1 point every turn. Roll a die. And if it's odd, we get a monster. Otherwise, we just lose 1 health and don't have to worry about it. We got an even. We will reduce our die, or our health. And we're going to get out of here, because we don't want to stay in that room anymore. So continuing counterclockwise, entering into the volcano, an active volcanic area with the dangerous lava flows. A hero loses 2 points of health when entering, and must draw a monster card. So this is just when you enter, you lose 2 health. It's not per round like the haunted forest, but we do get a monster, and that is a spider. A spider is weak towards piercing, so we're going to have to contend with his full 4 armor. First round of combat, our hero has a 5 plus 3 for 8 damage, and minus 4, so the spider is at 3 points of damage, or 3 points of health. And with the spider, he's got a webbing that he throws. On a 4, 5, or 6, the hero is stuck in the webbing instead of taking damage. But the spider got a 3, so he's going to take 7 points of damage to Reginald. And because of that, he's got some defense, so 7 points of damage minus 4 would be 3 points. That brings us down some more. 1, 2, 3. Second round of combat. So for the hero, we have 1 plus 3, which is 4. So no damage is dealt. And the creature does 6 minus 4 for just 2. Round 3. And we have 6 3 plus 3, 6 points of damage, which minus 4 brings the spider down to just 1 health, and we deal 1 more point of damage to Reginald. 1 more round. We are able to finish off the spider. Let's check it for items, and we find one. So we come over to the items. Oh, I didn't shuffle the items, did I? Because that was the same card that was on top when I was picking them up. The hero's off. Got to shuffle. We get a gemstone wand, which is not much use to Reginald, who cannot use wands. So we'll just add that to his backpack. We'll add the spider to our pile, and hope we can find some place for healing. We're going to enter into the magic glade. Entering the magic glade, the hero restores, the print's a little small for me, 2 points of health when entering. So that's helpful. We are at 3 health. We'll move on to our next terrain. In the forest, dense trees provide cover and concealment, so everybody gets a +1 to their health or their armor. And we draw a monster. We get our skeleton. We'll just go right ahead and start combat. Oh. 3. He's got a -2, so it leaves him with 1 health. And so his 6 plus 3 -4, so 5 points of damage to our hero, and that is going to kill him. So Reginald dies in the forest to the hands of a skeleton. So that's it for single player. That's kind of all the further we made it. We could shuffle, we can do stuff. If I hadn't died and we turned all of these over, we made it to all of the terrain. Let's turn these around the right way so we can see them. Now then, we've completed the whole terrain, and we're hopefully found some helpful items and things. We've got more monsters killed, and at this point we would take all of these and clear the field. And when we clear the field, we're going to reshuffle all the terrain, and we would advance to the next tier of monsters. So by finishing it, obviously we only found a gemstone wand, which doesn't really help a knight very much. So, but we had multiple places to find more things. Stepping up to the next tier of monsters, you're going to want more than what we got. We'll shuffle our terrain here. I'll reset our monsters and get them shuffled, and we'll do a 4-player version, which will use all of the heroes, which for me, I'm going to probably have to write down enemy tracking, because it's going to be too many numbers to try to memorize. Also, there isn't that much room on our table. So let's get our items reshuffled. let's bring our heroes over. Because when we were doing multiple heroes, we need extra space on the table for everybody to have a chance. Obviously, 1 or 2 people having a 9-card terrain area is plenty. But when you have 4 people, you want a bigger group. So what we do is 4. If you're doing a 3-player game, it's best to go with 4x3, which would be here. And if you're doing it, I'm going to go with a 4-player. We're going to expand into space I can't reach. We're going to go 4x4. Bring these way over here. Try to give me a little bit more room. Alright. Again, we'll start roughly in the center. We don't have an exact center, but we'll pick one of the center 2 cards to begin with. And I'm going to start again with Reginald. Reginald will approach the terrain from this side. Just because Selena's right here, I'll have her approach from one of these 2. Larissa will approach from one of these 2. And then Cyric will come in from one of these 2. So you come in from each side. And I make a mess. Let's fix that. I need more table. Okay, so Reginald gets to step into a frozen tundra, so he immediately loses 1 point of health, and will continue to lose a point every turn. And we gotta see if he's got a monster. He does not. We need a monster on an odd, so that's good. Selena will come in from a little further away. She's going to enter into the haunted forest and also lose 1 health. We're going to roll and see if she gets a monster. She does not. Larissa will come in here. Everybody's entering into hostile terrain. Larissa is going to lose 1 health per turn. She starts with 7, bring it down to 6. And check for a monster. She gets a monster. So Larissa is going to start with our skeleton. Larissa has an archery and it's ranged, so she gets to shoot at the skeleton before it gets to attack. So round 1 is just for Larissa's attack. Shooting a skeleton with a bow is not suggestible. The bow is a +3. Is the right bow, right? Yes. We'll bring that back over here so we can see them. Bow is a +3, and Larissa has 2 defense. We'll set those there. It's fine. So 2 + 3 for 5 points of damage, and the skeleton has a -2 for his defense. So just 3 points of damage to the skeleton, who has 1 health left. Before that combat continues, we have to make the full round. So Cyric will go next, which is where trying to remember if there's multiple enemies out here as a solo player gets a little rough. We might need extra counters of some sort. Cyric is going to enter the abandoned mine. If he rolls a die, if it's odd, he loses 1 health, and if it's even, he gets an item. So he's going to get an item. Cyric finds elven armor, which he could wear. It helps with archery, which he doesn't have, but it's also a much stronger armor. So he's probably going to put that on. It won't help him with bows because he's not using one. Although if he finds a bow, he'll be able to use it and gain the benefit. Elven armor would not be heavy. He can't wear heavy armor, so he won't be able to wear the armor that the knight has. That was Cyric's turn. Over to Reginald. He's going to work his way clockwise or counterclockwise again. And he's going to enter the castle ruins. Roll for a monster. We did not get a monster. We got an item instead. And Reginald has found a healing potion. So he's able to use that when he wants to. Once it's used, you shuffle that back into the deck. It restores up to 5 health. He's only down by 1, so he's not going to use that right now. Moving over to Selena's turn. She's going to go straight in. We'll go here. And that is another ruins. And here we're going to roll for a monster or item. We get a monster. Now, Selena, being a mage, on first round of combat, she's able to throw a spell at ranged, and the zombie wouldn't be able to attack anyway. So we just do her magic attack. So for 3 plus 3, 6 points of damage, -2, leaving the zombie with 2 health. Continuing over to Larissa again. This turn it is both the zombie or the skeleton and Larissa attack. The skeleton only has 1 health, and Larissa hits it for 8 points of damage. Now, -2, so only 6 points, which would kill it. We have to check and see if it stays alive. So on a 5 or 6, the skeleton would be alive with 2 health, but it died. So we're going to check it for an item, and it's got an item for Larissa, and she finds an elven bow, which is very nice. It's a +7 on attack. So we'll put that there. We'll add the skeleton to her group. Over to Cyric. He's going to head this direction, entering into a cave, and he gets a monster. No check. Another skeleton. Now, Cyric has a stealthy advance, so he's able to do a sneak attack on the first round of combat, and that means he gets to attack the skeleton before it spots him. So skeleton does not attack back. And Cyric deals 5 points of slashing damage, so -2. So just 3 points of damage, leaving the skeleton with 1 health. Over to Reginald, coming over this direction into the plains. And in the plains, we roll a die. If it's odd, we get a monster. And now Reginald gets to fight a spider again. So let's do first round of combat with him. It is weak towards piercing, so a -4. And he has so that's going to deal 5 points of damage to the spider. Zombies at 2, spiders at 3, or spiders at 2, zombies at 2, skeletons at 1. I can remember this. And the spider deals 7 points of damage, -4. So 3 points of damage to Reginald. Moving over to Selena, attacking the zombie with now she's using her blunt staff to club it, and she deals more than enough to finish off the zombie. And the zombie has an item, which is another healing potion for Selena. And she gets the zombie. Let's pile them together. Larissa finished off her combat there, so she hasn't moved. So her next turn, she's going to go this way. Entering the forest, so she's going to lose 1 health. And see if there's a monster. There is not. Cyric has his next round of combat with the skeleton, dealing 8 points of damage, -2, so 6 points of damage. He only had 1 left. We're going to check and see if the skeleton comes back alive. It does not. We're going to check him for items, and he has 1. That is a mighty sword. It is a heavy 2-handed sword. Only the knight can use it, because Cyric isn't strong enough. So he's going to add that to his inventory. Add the skeleton to his inventory. The reason we're keeping track of the skeletons and things, at the end, when we go through and count up the points that are on each card, and the player that has the most points would be the winner. That's still alive. Reginald is going to try to finish off the spider. That's not going to do it. Spider reduces by 4. And Reginald takes 2 points of damage. Selena is here. She's going to move down to this square. Maybe try to help Reginald if she gets there quick enough. Selena is entering into the mountains, though. It is rugged terrain. She's going to draw a monster card. After that monster is defeated, she has to roll a die to find out if there's a second monster on an odd or just loses a turn. So the chances of Selena making it to Reginald is not very good. That is... Oh, no, we don't have to draw. We have to draw a monster. She is facing down an orc. We'll do her magic attack. Ranged. Nice. For 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points of damage, -2. Brings the orc down to 1 health. And the orc deals 9 points of damage to Selena, -1, and that finishes Selena right off. She dies. Editor's note: Selena was a ranged attack, so the orc wouldn't have hurt her. So we'll put her to 0. What happens to Selena's items? Her zombie stays there, but the healing potion will go underneath the orc. And anything else of value, really. But so if a different character makes it over here, they have to fight the orc, and they're able to get the potion. And then they have to follow the rest of the directions in the card, whether there's another monster or not. Larissa was here, and she'll move over to this card. She loses 1 health by entering into the frozen tundra. And we check for a monster. That is unfortunate. There is a monster. And it's a spider. Although, she's using a bow, which is piercing, and the spider is weak towards piercing. And she has a fancy new bow. Jeez. 1 plus 7 is 8 minus 2. So, actually, I rolled both die and I didn't need to because it's range. So her first round is just the bow attack. That leaves the spider with 1 point of health. Now, after Larissa finishes this spider and moves over here, the orc would be back to full health. It's not going to be left at 1 health. That's had time to heal itself. I don't think that's in the directions anywhere. It's more to alleviate trying to keep track of individual monsters for other players. Cyric is going to move up into here. And we have to draw a monster card, as it's the forest. And he gets a zombie. And the zombie gets a +1 to his defense, but for a slashing weapon he's reduced to 0, so it's just the standard +1, not +3. And Cyric does 5, 6, 7 minus 1 would be 6 points of damage to the zombie right off the bat. So let's see if the zombie has any health or any items. And he does. Everybody's getting lucky except for those who died. Cyric has found the fur coat. And what the fur coat allows is, while being worn, and it can be worn over top of armor, he's able to pass into the frozen tundra without taking any damage. So that is a good thing to keep around. It doesn't affect any other zones. We'll add that to here. Back to Reginald and his spider fight. And that's going to finish off the spider. So let's see for an item. And he has an item. The enchanted suit of armor, which is much better than his current suit. So instead of +3, he's going to have a +8. A total of +9 armor. Very good for him. We'll add his spider to his pile. Alright, moving on. Selena's dead. We'll move over to Larissa. Larissa deals plenty of damage with that. So we don't even have to worry about what the spider gets. And the spider does not have an item for her. Cyric, he's kind of boxed in here. He doesn't really want to take damage by entering there. So he's going to come back to the cave that he's already cleared. So that's where he's at now. Back to Reginald, who's here. He's going to move up into this terrain. Volcano, of course. Reginald likes the volcanoes. -2. And we get a monster. We have a bandit who is weak towards slashing. And doesn't have any way of actually hurting Reginald. 6 plus 2 is not going to beat his armor. So it's more of a, how many rounds is Reginald going to take to kill him off? And with max damage, 1 round. You can simplify it. If the monster has no way of damaging the hero, just say that the hero is going to win and claim the items, which is a wand, which he does not really use. And we'll add this over here. Now, one thing to keep track of is how many items they have, which now he's wearing one suit of armor. He can't wear both. You can only carry 5 items at a time. If you have more than that, you have to leave it behind on the square that you're in, or sort through what you have and decide what you don't want. Maurice is going to come over into the orc and shoot it. for the orc is weak towards piercing. 7, 8, 9 points of damage minus 0. That finishes the orc off in one shot. And the orc does not have any healing or any items on it, but she does get to have the healing potion. Sirik is going to move down into the old mine again, which he's going to lose 1 health, which I never... Or no, he has to roll to find out if he loses health. I never gave him one, which is odd. Dice, so he's going to lose 1. Never started his tracker, he's never taken damage. We have 2 terrain up here that needs to be done. So Reginald is going to enter here, taking 1 point of damage. He's hurting. He needs to use his health potion, actually. Now that he's moved into there, we're going to see if there's a monster. There is. But he's also going to use his healing potion, which he could have used at the end of last turn or the beginning of this one. And that will bring him back to full health. Or no, 5. Back up to 6 health. And this goes back into the pile. We'll shove it about halfway down. And we get our monster. And he's got to deal with a little goblin. So we do our attack. 3 plus 3 is 6. And the goblin actually has a... I've updated it. Like I said, this is the first batch of the game. I haven't gotten an updated version of it yet. Updated is available for purchase. But the goblin, I've actually switched it to just a 0. So he has no defense. So Reginald does 6 points of damage, and the goblin only has 5 health. Rather than getting an extra point, which didn't make sense. So goblin does not have an item. Over to Larissa, who's going to enter this one, which I'll check it for an item or a monster, and she gets a magical robe. Sirik's going to move into this terrain, which is the Foggy Moor. With the Foggy Moor, the text that's been changed to when the monster or hero rolls, any odd numbers are misses. Regardless of how high they are, an odd number on the die is a miss, because they have a 50% chance of missing in the fog. And we have to draw a card, or a monster. He gets a bandit. He does get his sneak attack on the first round. So 2 and 2. Slashing. So that's 4 points of damage. And the bandit only has 4 health. So we check it for items. He does not have an item. Let's add that over here. Reginald steps into this zone, which is another rugged mountain with another orc. It's odd. Orcs live in mountains. Reginald will go ahead and attack. 4, 5, 6, 7. Minus 2. So 5 points of damage to the orc, who has 8 health. And the orc deals 10 points of damage back, minus 9, so only 1 health taken off of Reginald. Larissa is going to move into the zone next to him. And that is a swamp. Murky and treacherous, filled with hidden perils. A hero must roll a die. If it's odd, they lose 2 health. That's going to hurt her. On to Sirik, he's kind of over here. He's wearing his coat so he can pass into the frozen tundra without problem. We got to roll. If it's odd, we get a monster. It's not a monster. Back to Reginald fighting the orc. And that is going to be 7 minus 2 for 5 more points of damage, taking the orc out. We'll check for items. He does not have one. Add that over here. And now all monsters are dead. And all the cards have been turned over. So we get to re-clear the field and reshuffle. Each hero that's alive gets to draw 2 item cards. And any heroes that died come back to half health and get to draw 1 item card. So I'll do that just to show you how it looks. So Selena gets 3 health back. Reginald gets 2 items. We'll just go around. Reginald gets 1 item first. Larissa gets 1 item. Cyric gets 1 item. And then for our second turn, Reginald gets 1. Selena gets 1. Larissa gets 1. And Cyric gets 1. Now he's got a crossbow. He's got the Staff of the Magi, which he can't really use. And how many items does he have? He has 2. So he can put the Staff of the Magi into his collection and move his dagger into the collection and start using the crossbow, which is a ranged piercing, which the Elven armor actually says just bows. I might have to say bows or crossbows. Because it's saying ranged, like it can't, because we have ranged magic. So I don't want it, it's not set up to be ranged, it's bows. I feel a crossbow should be considered a bow. Larissa's got a warhammer, which she can't really do anything with. Reginald's got a battle axe, which is very nice, and some healing herbs. And he's okay with what he's carrying. So we're going to put the sword into here and put the battle axe down there. Larissa got some healing herbs and a scroll of fireball, which she can't really use the fireball scroll. It's more of a magic user type thing. Let's look at her pile. Alright, we want our tier 2 monsters now. I'll leave that there. Larissa's actually at max capacity for her box, her inventory. She's got healing and herbs. And she's also down some health, so she's going to use the healing herbs before the next round starts. And that one, healing herbs can be used 3 times. And then after 3 times you've used, she shuffles it back into the deck. She's at 3. Or no, that's so 1, 2, and 3. Brings her mostly back up to health. Put the healing herbs back into here. Brings her a 5 out of 7. Shall shuffle our monsters because I didn't shuffle tier 2 earlier. Put them here. And we reshuffle the terrain and lay it out for our second round, which I'm not going to go through a second round of combat. It takes a few minutes. The video's coming on long enough, but we'll lay it out and we'll do, example of how it starts. I think you understand the basics at this point. So there's our terrain, our new field, the same players enter from the side that they're on. And we have new combats. Obviously, Reginald has his better armor and better weapon. Selena's stuck with what she got, basically still beginner. Larissa's got a better weapon, and Cyric's got a better weapon and armor. And he's got his coat. So we'll just at least look at the first round, what they're going to run into. So you get a view of what these guys get. tier 2 monster is a harpy, and is flying, so it's weak towards piercing, but it's got to be ranged piercing because it's flying overhead. So like a bow or crossbow. Otherwise it's -5, and it's got a +5 on its health. With the harpy, roll on a roll of 4, 5, or 6, the hero is enchanted and cannot attack until the harpy rolls a 1, 2, or until the hero rolls a 1, 2, or 3. So if the harpy enchants, we'll get it. On a 4, the hero's got to be able to roll a 1, 2, or 3 to attack. All right. Selena would have entered into a volcano, so she'd lose some health and get a monster. She's going to get a dark elf. Dark elf has the shadow step, so dark elf actually gets a chance to attack first, even though she's got ranged. And it kind of balances out. If the shadow step succeeds, which is a 1, 2, or 3, the ranged and everything cancels itself out, kind of, because she no longer gets a free attack because she didn't get spotted. So it's kind of first round of combat, nothing happens if he gets shadow step, but she didn't because he got a 5. So she does her attack with ranged, so 5 plus 3 minus 5, so just 3 points of damage. So it's going to take a while. Larissa comes in into the mountains. She's fighting a griffin, which is one of the harder tier 2 monsters. It's got 14 health and 5 defense, but is also weak towards range piercing. It's got a dual strike. Powerful beak does 6 points of damage, and the claw strike does 3 points. So we have to add that. We'll roll just a 1 die, and then add. So for that's brutal. If this was second round of combat, she would be dead. That's 6 plus 6 plus 3 is how we do it. So that is 15 points of damage right off the bat, and she's not able to really deflect hardly any of that. But luckily she's got range, so she would have been attacking it first. Yeah, and it's a dual strike, first attack. So it's not every round dealing that much damage. It's just the first attack. After first round, it's just the 1 attack. Cyric, so yeah, is entering an abandoned mine and loses a health. Alright, so I'm not going to continue clearing the field this time around. We're going to end the video there. You kind of see a single player, single hero game, and then a multiple hero game. You kind of understand how that works. It really, as a single player, if you die like we did, Reginald died, you could continue with the same pattern, clear the field. Any items collected will go back into the deck. Hero comes back at half health, and you can start again. Or you can just say he's dead, we'll start over completely. Either way, all the items go back into the deck. So, hope that helps. I'll work on making some more videos showcasing different terrains, different characters, and different monsters. For now, thank you for stopping in, and have a good day.